God's chosen ones. God is on the verge of demonstrating precisely why he handpicked you. This revelation, my cherished souls, will astound you. Have you ever found yourself trapped in the turbulent currents of your own narrative, silently pleading, God, why me? Why this particular path with all its twists and turns? Why this agonizing timing? Why the relentless slamming of doors when my heart was wide open and yearning? Why the crushing isolation, the deafening silence, those long, heavy nights filled with doubt and uncertainty, when all I've strived to do is follow your divine guidance? Perhaps you've mustered a smile through the pain, valiantly navigated the storms, maybe even emerged stronger, more resilient on the other side. Yet, the question lingers, a persistent ember glowing beneath the surface, like smoke from a fire that refuses to be extinguished. Lord, you whisper, if I am indeed chosen, why does it still feel as though I'm constantly overlooked, passed by unseen? If this question resonates deep within your spirit, if it has taken root in the fertile ground of your soul, then this message is specifically for you. If you've ever cast a questioning gaze upon your life, your circumstances, and muttered under your breath, there's absolutely no way this is what favor feels like, then lean in, draw closer, because what appears to be a frustrating detour, a maddening diversion, is, in reality, a meticulously crafted divine design, a pivotal element in your extraordinary journey. God hasn't abandoned you to the wolves. He hasn't forgotten you in the wilderness. He's been orchestrating something profound in the hush, in the stillness. And now, my beloved, he's about to amplify the volume, to make his purpose resoundingly clear, shattering any lingering doubts that may cloud your mind. This isn't superficial, feel-good motivational fluff. This is prophetic alignment, a realignment of your spirit with the divine plan he has destined for you. This is not just a spiritual pep talk, a fleeting burst of encouragement. This is divine evidence, tangible proof of his unwavering commitment to your journey. And it's about to manifest in your life with such undeniable force, such breathtaking clarity, that it will shock even those who dismissed you, those who counted you out, those who doubted your potential. You, my friend, are the very reason this message was brought to life, birthed into existence. Because someone who is truly chosen, genuinely selected for a higher purpose, doesn't receive an easy, paved path. Instead, they are thrust into a proving ground, a crucible where their character is tested, their faith is refined, and their spirit is tempered. And that, my dear one, is precisely what you've been navigating. Let me speak directly to your spirit, to the very core of your being. You are not behind in the cosmic timeline. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not forgotten in the grand scheme of things. You are being strategically positioned, meticulously prepared for something so extraordinarily specific, so incredibly weighty with purpose, so undeniably supernatural in its manifestation, that it simply could not be rushed, hurried, or forced. The apparent delay was not a punishment for some unknown transgression. It was a divine preparation, a deliberate cultivation of the strength, wisdom, and resilience you will need for the incredible task ahead. And before we delve any deeper, I want to pause and express my heartfelt gratitude to every single soul who has generously supported this message, this ministry, through the Super Thanks feature. Your generosity is not merely seen. It is deeply sacred, a testament to your compassionate heart. You're not just giving to a channel, a digital platform. You're sowing into a movement, a ripple effect of hope and inspiration. You're helping keep this sacred space alive and thriving for people who don't even realize they desperately need this word, this message of hope. Yet, whether you've given before, just contributed recently, or are simply present here and now with a tender and receptive heart, thank you. Your presence matters more than you know. Your spirit holds immense significance. And this space, this community, wouldn't be what it is without your unwavering support. Now, let's venture into the deeper, more profound layers of this pivotal moment. Because God is about to unequivocally prove why he chose you, why he set you apart. And it won't come through fleeting applause or shallow validation. It's going to come through perfect alignment with his divine will, through undeniable confirmation that resonates deep within your soul, through breathtaking moments that you didn't orchestrate, didn't manipulate, but were divinely designed for you to effortlessly walk into. Doors you won't have to kick open, force, or struggle to enter, because your name has already been whispered behind them, spoken with reverence and anticipation. Have you ever noticed how God doesn't always offer explanations during the tumultuous process? How he remains seemingly silent while the warfare around you intensifies? It's because chosen ones are tested in silence, in the crucible of their own faith. They are stretched and molded in secret, away from the prying eyes of the world. And only when their foundation is unshakable, when their resolve is unyielding, does he allow the spotlight to shift, to illuminate their path and reveal their purpose. You didn't miss your moment, you didn't squander your opportunity. You are being meticulously molded, carefully crafted for it. Isaiah 60 verse 22 declares with unwavering certainty, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And chosen one, the time is undeniably right. You've passed through the consuming fire and emerged without turning to ash. You've bravely walked through the sting of rejection and yet, miraculously, didn't lose your inherent tenderness, your capacity for compassion. You've patiently endured the long season of waiting without abandoning your faith, without succumbing to despair. Now comes the proving, the unveiling of his divine plan. This proving isn't solely for your enemies to witness, for your doubters to begrudgingly acknowledge. It's primarily for you, for every single moment you questioned your assignment, for every tear you shed behind closed doors, unseen and unheard, for every long, sleepless night you went to bed wondering if you were even truly called, if you were simply chasing a phantom. God is not only going to prove it to the world, silencing the critics and silencing the naysayers. He's about to prove it to you personally and intimately, in your finances, demonstrating his provision and abundance. In your family, restoring relationships and healing deep wounds. In your calling, solidifying your purpose and amplifying your impact. In your influence, expanding your reach and empowering your voice. And most importantly, in your peace, granting you a serenity that surpasses all understanding. Psalm 99 proclaims with resounding authority, the Lord reigns. Let the nations tremble. And chosen one, I need you to boldly type 99 in the comments right now as a prophetic agreement, a declaration of your faith. Because this is holy ground, a sacred space where divine encounters unfold. This is confirmation, an affirmation of your calling. This is a divine moment, not just for your intellectual understanding, but for your very calling, the core of your being. God is about to reveal precisely why you were rejected, why you were isolated, why they walked away, why the blessing seemed to take longer to materialize, why the room you desperately prayed for didn't initially open, why the door you thought you desperately needed remained shut. Because he wasn't building you for ordinary recognition, for fleeting fame. He was meticulously building you for unshakable elevation. A platform so solid and secure that no earthly force could topple it. What if the very thing they thought disqualified you, the perceived weakness, the supposed flaw, is precisely what God is about to utilize to distinguish you, to set you apart as a beacon of hope and inspiration? What if the very story you were once ashamed of, the narrative you tried to bury, becomes the bedrock of your influence, the foundation upon which your purpose is built? What if those closed doors were never a sign of rejection, but a form of divine protection, shielding you from premature exposure and guarding the platform you were never meant to share with those who didn't align with your divine destiny? Everything is about to make perfect sense, like pieces of a complex puzzle finally falling into place. Everything is about to shift, to transform, to align with his perfect will. And it's going to happen not through your frantic striving, your desperate attempts to control the outcome, but by his spirit, by his grace, by his unwavering love. So, if your heart recognizes this word as being specifically for you, if something within your spirit stirred and declared, "This is mine, I claim this promise," then don't merely watch this moment passively drift by. Claim it with unwavering conviction. Declare it with audacious faith. Comment 999 to let heaven and this entire community know, "I receive it, I embrace it, I believe it," because the proof is undoubtedly coming. The favor is undeniably falling, showering you with blessings beyond measure. And the spotlight isn't chasing fleeting noise, isn't seeking superficial attention. It's strategically locating alignment, divinely pinpointing the one who didn't fold under pressure when loneliness descended, the one who praised God in private when no one was watching, the one who didn't compromise their integrity to gain temporary visibility, but trusted that divine timing would speak volumes, louder than any fleeting moment of attention. You didn't campaign for applause, you cultivated character. You didn't beg to be chosen, you simply kept showing up, consistently and faithfully, acting as though you already were. And now, heaven is about to echo what your spirit already instinctively knows, what you've held onto in faith. You were never forgotten, you were never overlooked. The delay wasn't denial. It was a divine orchestration, a meticulously planned sequence of events leading you to your ultimate destiny. And when the light finally hits, when the spotlight shines upon you, it won't be to expose your flaws or magnify your imperfections. It will be to reveal your unwavering faith, the unwavering belief that sustained you through the darkest of times. Get ready, chosen one. The season of proving is undeniably here. And the stage you didn't solicit, the platform you didn't campaign for, is already being meticulously set, meticulously prepared with your name emblazoned upon it. God's chosen ones. God is about to demonstrate precisely why he chose you. This revelation will surprise you, perhaps even overwhelm you. Maybe you've been navigating a chapter of your life that feels like one extended, deafening silence. A season where every time you dared to knock, the door didn't just remain closed, it slammed shut with resounding force. People seemed to pass you by as if you were invisible, transparent. Rooms you rightfully should be in remained stubbornly closed. Jobs, friendships, platforms, they seemed to effortlessly rise and flourish for others while you remained frustratingly stuck in place, unable to move forward. And perhaps, in moments of vulnerability, you've started to wonder, to question, did I miss it? Did I somehow fail to grasp the opportunity? Did I misinterpret the signs? But the truth, my friend, is far deeper, far more profound than what you currently feel. This is not about punishment for some past transgression. It's about the sacred process of refinement, the divine shaping of your character. You're not being forgotten, you're being forged, molded into something extraordinary. Because what you carry within you, chosen one, is weighty with purpose, brimming with potential. And before God showcases that glory, before he unveils your destiny to the world, he always meticulously shapes it in secret, away from the noise and distractions of the world. So, if you've been feeling weary, not just in your physical body, but deep within your soul, this message is specifically for you. That particular kind of weariness isn't solely about physical exhaustion. It's the aching ache of delayed hope, the gnawing feeling of unfulfilled promises. You've uttered prayers that seem to have gone unanswered, fasted without receiving clarity, sown seeds that haven't yet sprouted from the fertile ground, and it's left you quietly questioning, whispering to the heavens, God, do you even see me? Am I even on your radar? Let me ask you something, a question that may reframe your perspective entirely. What if the silence wasn't a definitive no, but a sacred pause, a moment of stillness before a crescendo of blessings? What if the waiting wasn't a form of punishment, but undeniable proof that you are being set apart, distinguished from the ordinary, prepared for something extraordinary? Because heaven never wastes a single ounce of weight, a single moment of suffering. That ache you carry within you, that burden you shoulder, God is meticulously collecting every single drop, every single tear. Psalm 56 verse 8 declares with unwavering compassion, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." That single verse alone is a profound love letter written directly to your secret pain, a testament to his unwavering attentiveness. Not one moment has gone unnoticed. Not one tear has been shed in vain. Every night you cried silently into your pillow, every time you cheered for someone else's success when you were the one desperately needing a breakthrough, every closed door, every overlooked opportunity, it was never random, never arbitrary. It was orchestrated by divine timing, meticulously woven into the tapestry of your destiny. Have you ever considered that God doesn't operate according to your limited perception of time, doesn't adhere to your ticking clock? He operates by his eternal glory, his boundless wisdom. We live by fleeting minutes, but he moves by monumental moments. You see, if he bestowed upon you the platform before you had cultivated the character, the platform would ultimately crush you under its weight. That's why, before he promotes you publicly, before he elevates you to a position of influence, he meticulously prepares you privately, fortifying your spirit and equipping you with the tools you'll need to thrive. And that's precisely where you've been, not dismissed, not discarded, but hidden, carefully protected. And there's a profound distinction between being buried and being planted. Buried things are destined to decay, to rot away into nothingness. Planted things, on the other hand, are destined to grow, to flourish, to bear abundant fruit. So, what if you're not currently in a grave, buried beneath the weight of disappointment, but instead, thriving in a greenhouse, carefully nurtured and protected until you're ready to blossom? Let me reveal something else to you. You know how we love to enthusiastically discuss purpose, passionately seek our calling? But what if I told you that purpose doesn't begin with thunderous applause and widespread acclaim? It often begins in obscurity, in the quiet corners of life. Think about David, the shepherd boy who would become king. His own father didn't even believe he was qualified, didn't even consider him a viable candidate. When the prophet Samuel arrived to anoint a new leader for Israel, Jesse proudly presented every son except David, seemingly forgetting about the youngest who was tending the sheep in the fields. Have you ever felt like that? Like even your own family doesn't truly see your worth, doesn't recognize the potential that lies dormant within you? Like people around you look right past you, dismiss you without a second glance, while heaven whispers with unwavering certainty, "That's the one, that's who I've chosen." That's precisely what transpired with David. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 reminds us with profound wisdom, "The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." God saw David's valiant heart in the pasture long before the palace ever came into view, long before he wore the crown. And the same God who anointed him in silence, in the obscurity of the fields, is the very same God anointing you right now in your secret place, in the quiet sanctuary of your soul. Let's bring this closer to home, to contemporary examples that resonate with our modern lives. Oprah Winfrey, a media mogul who has touched millions of lives, was told early in her career that she was unfit for television, that she didn't possess the charisma or the presence to captivate an audience. Imagine that, one of the most influential and beloved women in media, dismissed by someone who simply couldn't see her divine calling, couldn't fathom her potential. But instead of succumbing to the discouragement, instead of relinquishing her dream, she persevered. She kept tending her sheep, so to speak, diligently doing the work in obscurity, honing her skills and preparing herself for the incredible opportunity that awaited her. Eventually, God flipped the script, rewriting her narrative and catapulting her to unprecedented success. Or consider the story of Colonel Sanders, the entrepreneurial genius behind Kentucky Fried Chicken. He faced rejection over 1,000 times before someone finally gave his unique chicken recipe a chance, before someone saw the potential in his culinary vision. We often celebrate the triumphant moment someone rises to prominence, but we frequently forget the agony of the long wait, the countless setbacks, the unwavering perseverance required before that moment arrives. What if you're currently in your before season right now, in the period of preparation before the unveiling of your purpose? Would you still trust God implicitly? Would you still cling to your faith tenaciously, even if no one is clapping yet, even if no one seems to recognize your potential? Now, pause with me for a moment and engage in some introspection. What is God refining within you right now that no one else can see? Is he building endurance within your spirit, fortifying you for the challenges ahead? Is he teaching you how to worship authentically without the need for a stage, without the validation of an audience? Is he helping you detach from the addictive allure of external approval so that when the spotlight finally shines upon you, you won't need it to survive, to thrive, to feel validated? Chosen one, you're not being punished for some unknown transgression. You're being perfected, meticulously refined like precious metal in a crucible. James 1 verse 4 assures us, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This isn't delay, it's divine development, a carefully orchestrated process of growth and transformation. You're not behind schedule in the grand scheme of things. You're right on time, perfectly positioned in heaven's intricate blueprint. You know who else bravely walked through obscurity, who also faced a season of seemingly endless waiting? Nelson Mandela. Before he became the iconic president of South Africa, a symbol of hope and reconciliation, he spent 27 long years in prison, unjustly incarcerated for his unwavering commitment to justice and equality. And yet, it was that very time, hidden from the world, silenced, forgotten by many, that forged within him the unshakable resolve, the profound wisdom, and the unwavering compassion he would need to lead a deeply divided nation towards healing and unity. Do you see the pattern emerging yet? Sometimes, isolation is a form of preparation, a sacred space for inner growth. Sometimes, the cave, the place of refuge and retreat, becomes the most effective classroom, a place where profound lessons are learned. Elijah hid in a cave before boldly confronting Jezebel, the wicked queen. Moses spent 40 long years in the wilderness before leading God's people out of the oppressive clutches of Egypt. Even Jesus, the Son of God, spent 30 years in quiet preparation before embarking on his 3 years of transformative public ministry. Why would it be any different for you? Are you willing to trust God implicitly even when nothing around you makes sense? When the circumstances seem bleak and confusing? Are you still available, still willing to serve, even when the applause is conspicuously absent? God often anoints in private, bestowing his favor upon us in the quiet sanctuary of our hearts, before he appoints us in public, elevating us to positions of influence. And he has not changed his mind about you. He hasn't withdrawn his favor. Romans 11 verse 29 confirms this unwavering truth when it declares, "For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." That means he hasn't taken back what he whispered over your life, the promise he planted deep within your soul. Even if you've made mistakes along the way, even if you've stumbled and fallen, even if you've been overlooked and underestimated, you are still the one, still the chosen vessel. The calling is still alive, still burning brightly within you. Let me share another real-life story to further illustrate this point. Tyler Perry, the prolific filmmaker and actor, spent years living in his car while desperately trying to get his plays off the ground, facing countless rejections and enduring crushing financial hardship. He was broke, humiliated, and doubted his ability to succeed. But what was happening behind the scenes during those challenging years? His character was being carefully carved, his vision was being meticulously shaped, and his unwavering faith was being tested and refined. Today, he's not just a wildly successful filmmaker, he owns his own studio, creates opportunities and roles for others, and publicly gives God the glory for his success. But don't let the dazzling success fool you. Don't underestimate the arduous journey he endured. The weight of that glory, the capacity to handle that level of influence, was developed in obscurity, forged in the fires of adversity. What's currently being birthed in your hidden season, in the quiet sanctuary of your soul, may not be visible to others, may not be readily apparent, but it's undeniably visible to God, who sees the potential within you and is working to bring it to fruition. Ask yourself, what if this apparent delay is actually a divine design, a carefully orchestrated plan? What if God is currently writing a story that requires you to remain silent for a few chapters, to patiently endure the waiting, so that the plot twist, the moment of revelation, will hit even harder, leaving a lasting impact on those who witness your journey? What if your current no, the closed door, the denied opportunity, is making space for a yes so incredibly big, so unbelievably transformative, that it simply wouldn't have made sense a year ago, a month ago, or even yesterday? Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 wisely advises, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." The path may appear crooked now, winding and confusing, but he's still directing your steps, guiding you toward your ultimate destiny. And perhaps you need to hear this again, to let these words sink deep into your soul. You are not forgotten, you are not delayed, you are not disqualified, you are not stuck. You are strategically stationed, perfectly positioned for what's to come. Heaven knows exactly where you are, sees every struggle, and understands every doubt. That pain you're feeling, that burden you're carrying, it has a profound purpose. That silence you're currently experiencing, it's a sacred space for growth and preparation. That weariness in your bones, the exhaustion that permeates your being, it's a tangible sign that you've been diligently pressing toward the mark, striving for your goals, even when no one was cheering you on. You are not lost in the wilderness. You are being located by grace, divinely guided towards your ultimate destination. One last example to further illustrate this point. Vera Wang, the world-renowned fashion designer, didn't design her first dress until the age of 40. She had previously been a figure skater, a journalist, and a fashion editor. Yet, none of those roles were her final assignment. None of those paths led her to her ultimate calling. Had she achieved success too early in life, had she found her purpose in her 20s, she may have missed the role that would ultimately make her name eternally synonymous with exquisite design and bridal elegance. Some blessings require maturity, a level of wisdom and experience that can only be acquired through time. Some callings need layers, different experiences and skills that build upon one another to create a unique and impactful purpose. What if your path is simply deeper, more nuanced, not delayed or denied? Your behind-the-scenes season, though quiet, frustrating, and often filled with uncertainty, has not been wasted. Every unnoticed effort, every prayer whispered into the void, every lonely moment endured, has been a vital part of a divine training ground, preparing you for what's to come. You haven't been in hiding. You've been in heavenly conditioning, meticulously preparing for the incredible task that awaits you. God has been shaping you, not merely for survival, but for stewardship, for the responsibility of managing the incredible gifts and talents he has bestowed upon you. Because the calling on your life isn't lightweight, it's not a trivial pursuit. It carries weight, it has the potential to create a significant impact, and it will leave a lasting legacy. And before God entrusts you with visibility, before he elevates you to a position of influence, he meticulously molds your identity, fortifying your character and ensuring that you are grounded in his unwavering love. So, when you find yourself asking the age-old question, why has it taken so long? Why am I not further along in my journey? Consider this profound truth. The longer the preparation, the greater the ultimate purpose. God is not slow, he's strategic. He's not haphazard in his planning. He's deliberate and intentional in every step. When he chooses someone, he doesn't scroll through social media to see who's trending. He doesn't check the popularity meter to assess your worth. And he certainly doesn't measure you by man-made standards of success. He looks deeper, he sees the unwavering faith within your heart. He sees your obedience when no one is clapping, your willingness to serve even when you receive no external validation. He sees your private sacrifices, the sacrifices you make quietly and unassumingly, without seeking recognition. He sees your quiet endurance, your ability to persevere through challenges and setbacks. And he sees the way you still show up to pray, the way you still cling to your faith, even when the answer is not yet visible. And now, he's about to do what only he can do, to orchestrate a divine shift, to transform your status from overlooked to undeniable. But let's be honest, it hasn't always felt like favor. It hasn't always felt like you were on the right path. Some days it's felt like you were being forgotten altogether, lost in the shuffle, invisible to the world. You've stared at the ceiling late at night and asked yourself with a touch of desperation, am I really chosen? Or did I just fabricate this entire narrative in my head? Am I simply chasing a delusion? You've wrestled with doubt so heavy, so suffocating, that it felt like it could crush your very spirit, leaving you breathless and depleted. Imposter syndrome whispered insidious lies, suggesting that someone else could do it better, that you're too broken, too late, too unqualified to fulfill your purpose. But chosen one, hear me, listen intently to the truth that resonates within your soul. Stop questioning what God has already undeniably confirmed, what he has planted deep within your heart. The anointing on your life, the divine spark that sets you apart, was never up for public debate, never subject to the whims of popular opinion. The calling didn't simply dissolve or vanish just because your confidence wavered, just because you experienced moments of doubt and uncertainty. And no, it wasn't merely your imagination running wild. It was revelation, a glimpse into the divine plan he has meticulously crafted for you. Ephesians 2 verse 10 emphatically declares, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago." You were handpicked for this, specifically chosen, before you ever received a single round of applause, before you ever faced a single moment of doubt. Think about Stephen King, the master of horror, the prolific author who has captivated readers for decades. His manuscript for Carrie, the novel that launched his career, was rejected over 30 times by publishers who couldn't see its potential. Discouraged and disheartened, he threw it in the trash, convinced that it wasn't good enough, that it wouldn't resonate with readers. But his wife, Tabitha, retrieved it from the garbage, encouraging him not to give up, reminding him of his talent and his passion. Eventually, it was published, launching one of the most successful and enduring writing careers in literary history. What if God is about to take the very thing you almost gave up on, the dream you were ready to abandon, the project you almost scrapped, and use it to elevate your destiny, to propel you to new heights of influence and impact? What if the rejection you experienced wasn't meant to discourage you, to crush your spirit, but to reroute you into a deeper dependence on him, forcing you to rely on his strength and guidance? Now, let's delve even deeper. Let's explore the core of this revelation. What if what's coming next isn't primarily about you proving anything to anyone, about showcasing your talents or earning recognition? What if God wants to utilize you as a vessel, a living message, a walking testimony of his grace and power? What if the proof isn't found in your impressive credentials, your degrees, your certifications, but in the undeniable transformation that can't be ignored, the life-altering impact you have on others? Because God isn't attempting to impress people, he doesn't need to validate himself to the world. He's going to express his glory through you, allowing your life to be a shining example of his transformative love and power. And when he moves, when he orchestrates a breakthrough, he leaves no room for confusion, no space for doubt. Isaiah 41 verse 10 reminds you with unwavering reassurance. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." When he lifts you up, when he elevates you to a position of influence, it won't just be a fleeting moment of visibility. It will be unshakable, unyielding, and undeniable. Even the people who once questioned you, who doubted your abilities, will be forced to acknowledge. Surely the Lord was with them, surely they were divinely favored. And don't ever believe that God needs a clean canvas, a perfect individual, to paint his masterpiece. He specializes in using what others discard, in transforming brokenness into beauty, in finding value in what the world deems worthless. Think of Maya Angelou, the renowned poet, author, and civil rights activist. Before she achieved international acclaim, she faced unimaginable abuse, profound trauma, and years of enforced silence. For years, she didn't even speak, rendered mute by the horrors she had experienced. But God used that silence, that period of enforced quiet, to deepen her soul, to cultivate a wellspring of wisdom and compassion within her. And from that depth, from that place of vulnerability, came words that moved nations, words that challenged injustice and inspired hope. So, don't be ashamed of your scars, your story, your pain, your healing. They're not mere side notes or footnotes in your narrative. They're the very essence of your sermon, the foundation of your testimony. God is going to utilize what once hurt you, what caused you immense pain, to heal others, to offer solace and guidance to those who are struggling. That same voice that once trembled in fear, that once struggled to be heard, is going to roar with boldness, courageously speaking truth and inspiring change. That same heart that once broke in private, that once carried the weight of unimaginable sorrow, will now carry the anointing to restore lives in public, to mend broken spirits and offer hope to the hopeless. Now, let me ask you, have you been walking through fire lately? Has life felt like a pressure cooker, a constant state of heightened tension? Have you wondered if you're being punished for some unknown transgression, or tested beyond your limits, pushed to the very brink of your endurance? Let me reveal to you what's truly happening, what's unfolding beneath the surface. You're in the pressing room, the place where you are being refined and transformed. And yes, it hurts, there's no denying the pain. But oil is always produced through crushing, through immense pressure. The anointing, the divine empowerment that sets you apart, isn't something you can buy, something you can acquire through superficial means. It's something you survive, something you earn through perseverance and unwavering faith. 2 Corinthians 4 verses 8 to 9 powerfully declares, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed." That verse wasn't written for the comfortable, the complacent, or the privileged. It was written specifically for people like you, the resilient ones, the ones who keep getting up, dusting themselves off, even after being knocked down time and time again. Because while others may see your brokenness, may focus on your imperfections, God sees your becoming, the extraordinary potential that lies within you. One of the greatest comeback stories of our time is that of Jim Carrey, the comedic genius who has brought laughter to millions. Before he achieved fame and fortune, he lived in a van with his family, struggling to break into the comedy scene and facing countless rejections. He even wrote himself a $10 million check for services rendered, believing with unwavering certainty that one day, he would be able to cash it, that his dreams would eventually materialize. Years later, after enduring immense hardship and persevering through countless setbacks, he received a $10 million payment for his role in Dumb and Dumber, fulfilling his prophetic vision and proving that faith, combined with relentless hard work, can indeed move mountains. Faith isn't always loud or ostentatious, it doesn't always demand attention, but it's always certain, always unwavering, always trusting in the unseen. What if your current circumstances don't accurately reflect your future promise? What if the challenges you are currently facing don't align with the incredible destiny that awaits you? Perhaps you're still in the prelude, the introductory phase, not yet at the final chapter, the triumphant conclusion. Let's revisit this foundational truth. Let's allow it to sink deep into our souls. You don't need to chase validation, you don't need to seek external approval, when God is your ultimate vindication, when he is the one who affirms your worth and purpose. The same valley that once made you feel forgotten, that once filled you with despair and loneliness, will become the very stage where his voice roars through you, where his power is manifested, and where his glory is revealed. You won't need to shout your worth or demand recognition. He's going to demonstrably prove it through your actions and your impact on the world. Don't run from the process. Don't resist the refinement. Don't curse the pressure. Don't succumb to bitterness. Don't quit in the fire. Don't abandon your faith when the challenges seem insurmountable. Why? Because the fire isn't sent to destroy you, to consume you entirely. It's sent to refine you, to purify your character, to remove the impurities that hinder your growth. And once you emerge from the crucible, once you've endured the fiery trials, you'll carry a purity that can't be faked, an authenticity that resonates deeply with others. You'll possess a strength that can't be stolen, a resilience that has been forged in the face of adversity. Psalm 23 verse 5 triumphantly declares, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." God isn't going to bless you in hiding. He isn't going to secretly bestow his favor upon you. He's going to bless you in plain sight, for all the world to see. The same people who once dismissed you, who doubted your potential, will witness your overflow. They will see the abundance that he has poured into your life. And they won't be able to explain it, they won't be able to attribute it to mere luck or circumstance. Because this next move, this incredible elevation, won't be due to connections, credit, or charisma. It will be the undeniable evidence of divine favor, the unmistakable manifestation of his grace and power. And so, chosen one, lift your head high. You've been bowed down in discouragement for far too long, allowing the weight of doubt to crush your spirit. Fix your crown, straighten your posture, not because you feel strong in this moment, but because you are royal by divine appointment. You are a child of the King, destined for greatness. Straighten your back, walk with confidence, like someone who is sent on a mission, not like someone who is still passively waiting to be chosen. Your time in the wilderness was real. The challenges you faced were significant, but it wasn't final. It wasn't the end of your story. Your doubts were deep, the struggles were intense, but they didn't disqualify you. They didn't diminish your potential. You are not wandering aimlessly anymore. You are not lost in the desert. You are being strategically positioned, divinely guided towards your ultimate destination. Let me leave you with one more inspiring story to encourage you on your journey. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, was a single mother living on welfare when she wrote the first book, scraping by to provide for her child while pursuing her passion. Rejected by 12 publishers who couldn't see the potential in her magical world, she kept going, undeterred by the negativity and the discouragement. Today, her books have sold over 500 million copies worldwide, captivating readers. When the Lord appeared to Gideon, he didn't say, "You failure, you're at rock bottom." No, he declared, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Imagine that in your darkest hour, riddled with doubt and feeling utterly defeated, God doesn't define you by your present struggles. He calls you by a name only heaven knows, mighty warrior. Do you grasp the profound beauty of that? God isn't addressing the you stuck in this moment of despair. He speaks to the potential, the purpose, the mission that burns within you. You might feel invisible, forgotten by the world, but he sees you ablaze with potential. You may feel broken, shattered beyond repair, but he sees the brilliance buried beneath the layers of your pain. You may feel like your spark has died, leaving only ashes, but God sees a burning torch waiting to ignite a generation. Now, let's be honest, Gideon's initial reaction is all too relatable. Pardon me, Lord, he stammers. But how can I possibly save Israel? My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my family. That's the modern-day equivalent of saying, God, I didn't grow up in the church, or God, I don't have a platform, I don't have the connections, or even worse, God, I'm just not as good as them. Sound familiar? These are the voices that echo in your head, whispering all the reasons why you can't be used. They masquerade as logic, but their roots are buried deep in fear. They pretend to be humility, but they are actually excuses, a means of hiding from your calling. The very moment you start listing all the reasons why God shouldn't choose you is often the exact moment he's most ready to unleash you, because he's not searching for ability. He's looking for availability. Think about it. Moses stuttered, yet God used him to speak truth to Pharaoh, to lead a nation out of bondage. Jeremiah protested that he was too young, too inexperienced, yet God anointed him as a prophet to the nations, a voice that would shape history. Rahab was a prostitute, living on the fringes of society, yet she became part of the lineage of Jesus, forever woven into the tapestry of salvation. So what's your excuse compared to that? And let's bring this into the present day. Take Viola Davis, one of the most celebrated actresses of our time. She grew up in abject poverty, enduring constant teasing and feeling overlooked, even questioning her own worth. But her raw honesty, her willingness to embrace her scars, became her superpower. God didn't need her to be perfect, polished, or privileged. He needed her to be present, authentic, and willing. What about you? Are you still waiting to become enough, meticulously crafting the perfect resume for God? Or are you ready to be sent right now as you are with all your imperfections and insecurities? Gideon didn't feel like a warrior. He felt like a survivor, clinging to life by a thread. But God didn't ask him to feel qualified. He simply told him, I will be with you, that's all. No glittering resume required. No thunderous applause, just his unwavering presence. And when God is with you, that's more than enough. Romans 8 verse 31 thunders this truth. If God is for us, who can be against us? Do you truly grasp the weight of that? Not if you have connections, not if you have influence, but if God is for you. That means even when facing overwhelming opposition, the hand of heaven intervenes, tipping the scales in your favor. You are not outnumbered. You are outmaneuvering the enemy through the sheer power of grace. Let's bring this home, make it tangible in your life. Ever heard of Howard Schultz? He grew up in a housing project for the poor, his father never knowing stable employment. But Schultz went on to build Starbucks, a global icon, one of the most recognized brands in the world. He didn't begin with status or privilege. He began with struggle. But the difference is, he didn't remain hidden, paralyzed by his circumstances. He answered a pull, a persistent call. You, chosen one, have felt that pull too. A gentle nudge in your spirit, a dream that refuses to let you go. That idea, that vision, that persistent whisper that insists there's more to your life than what you're currently experiencing. That's not just fantasy. That's the echo of your calling, reverberating in your soul. And here's something you need to hear with crystal clarity. Your current setting, your present circumstances, do not define your sacred sending. You might be threshing wheat in your version of a wine press, stuck in a dead-end job you despise, serving in quiet anonymity, waiting in a place that feels completely disconnected from your destiny. But that's precisely where God starts his greatest stories, in the most unlikely of places. 1 Corinthians 1 verse 27 reminds us, but God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. Why does he do that? So that no one can take the credit but him. So that when you rise, they'll know it wasn't because of your talent, but because of his grace. It wasn't a perfectly crafted plan. It was divine orchestration, meticulously planned by the master artist. Even the celebrities you admire, those who seem to have it all, have wrestled with this tension. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was once cut from the Canadian Football League, left with a meager $7 in his pocket. That perceived failure led him to the wrestling ring, which in turn propelled him to Hollywood, ultimately resulting in worldwide influence. What looked like the end was actually the divinely appointed setup. Could it be that the very thing that feels like rejection in your life is actually redirection from God, gently guiding you toward a different, perhaps even better path? You see, Gideon's story isn't about a hero rising from a position of strength. It's about a chosen one rising from a place of surrender, completely relinquishing control to the Almighty. The power didn't originate from self-belief, from a puffed-up ego. It flowed from divine backing, from the unwavering support of the Creator. And that same power, that same limitless resource, is available to you right now. God didn't ask Gideon to prove himself worthy. He simply asked him to go in the strength that he already possessed, however meager it might seem. That's the very same invitation extended to you today. Go in the strength you have. Go with the scars you've gathered along the way, the badges of honor from battles fought and lessons learned. Go with the questions that remain unanswered, the uncertainties that cloud your mind. Go with the mustard seed of faith that somehow still survives, flickering beneath the crushing weight of your waiting. Psalm 138 verse 8 assures you, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. That means you can stop striving, cease the endless hustle to make it happen in your own strength. God is utterly committed to finishing what he started in you. Not because you're always confident, not because you never doubt, but because he doesn't lie, and he never lets go of the ones he's chosen. So what's your wine press? What is that place in your life that seems the least likely to produce a breakthrough? The barren landscape where hope withers. That's precisely where God is about to meet you. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, not amidst thunderous applause, but in quiet anonymity. And when he shows up, he will not call you by your pain, by your past mistakes, by your limiting beliefs. He will call you by your purpose, by the potential he sees within you. Not broken, but healer. Not weak, but warrior. Not forgotten, but forged. And you won't have to convince anyone. Mount a persuasive campaign to prove your worth. The shift will be so undeniable, the evidence so loud, that even your most ardent doubters will be forced to bow to the truth. God chose you and he never changed his mind. Let me say this with all the clarity and conviction I can muster. You don't need the approval of the crowd when you carry the calling of God. You don't need the validation of thunderous applause when you've been anointed by the King of Kings. You don't need the spotlight of fame when you've been personally selected by heaven itself. Some of you have been waiting, holding your breath, for the affirmation of others to validate what God already confirmed in the secret place, in the depths of your soul. But God's chosen ones don't rise to prominence because of impressive titles, staggering numbers, or social proof that garners likes and followers. They rise because they are available, willing vessels ready to be filled and poured out for his glory. You don't have to be perfect, polished, or perfectly put together. You don't even have to feel ready, equipped, or capable. You just have to be reachable, open to his leading, receptive to his whispers. That's what transformed Gideon from a fearful farmer into a vessel for divine glory. He didn't arrive at the table fully formed, a flawless masterpiece. He simply responded when God called, and that chosen one is enough. Now, here's where the story takes a divine twist. A sharp turn you might miss if you're not paying close attention. And if you're not careful, you'll miss the prophetic blueprint buried within it, the hidden treasure waiting to be unearthed. After Gideon finally says yes, after he finally embraces his calling, he gathers an army 32,000 strong. Impressive, strategic, comfortable. But then God looks at that crowd, at that seemingly invincible force, and says something utterly shocking. Too many soldiers in the face of a massive, merciless enemy. Why would God deliberately reduce an already outnumbered army, seemingly sabotaging their chances of victory? Because if the victory looked logical, if it could be attributed to human strategy or military might, humans would inevitably try to steal the glory, basking in the accolades that rightly belong to God. If it looked like a clever strategy, people would credit human intelligence, forgetting the divine hand that orchestrated the entire operation. So God starts pruning, meticulously whittling down the ranks. First, the fearful are sent home, those whose hearts tremble at the thought of battle. Then, another test, a seemingly arbitrary challenge to further weed out the ranks. Eventually, Gideon is left with only 300 men to face an army too vast to even count, a seemingly impossible scenario destined for utter defeat. Can you imagine the fear that must have gripped their hearts, the doubt that gnawed at their minds, the sheer absurdity of it all? But here's the revelation, the key to unlocking the mystery. God deliberately stacked the odds against Gideon, creating a seemingly insurmountable challenge so that when the miracle inevitably came, no one could mistake it for anything but divine intervention. It was a blatant display of his power, a testament to his unwavering faithfulness. And that's exactly what he's doing in your life right now. The doors didn't close because you weren't good enough, because you lacked the necessary talent or qualifications. They closed so that he could open a door that only he could touch, a path divinely ordained for your specific destiny. The finances were tight, stretched to the breaking point so that you'd learn dependence on him, not desperation fueled by your own limited resources. The delays weren't denials, a divine rejection of your dreams. They were divine setups, meticulously positioning you for undeniable glory, preparing you for a breakthrough that would leave no room for doubt. Isaiah 42 verse 8 declares, I am the Lord. That is my name. I will not yield my glory to another or my praise to idols. He's jealously guarding his glory in your life, fiercely protecting his reputation. And when he moves, when he finally unleashes his power, even your harshest critics will be forced to admit, only God could have done this. There's no other explanation. You see, that's the sacred power of your story, the undeniable truth that resonates deep within your soul. You may still be in the winepress right now, hidden, quiet, threshing wheat, wondering if breakthrough will ever come, if the clouds will ever part. But let me tell you what heaven is already shouting over your life, a triumphant declaration that echoes through the corridors of eternity. Mighty warrior, you may feel like the least likely, the most unqualified, but God always chooses the unlikely to carry the unforgettable, to accomplish the impossible. Think of Gideon, the fearful farmer who became a courageous leader. Yes, but also think of countless others who defied the odds and rose to unexpected heights. Do you remember how Taraji P. Henson moved to Los Angeles with only $700 and her young son, only to be told that she'd never make it because of her age and background, that she simply didn't fit the Hollywood mold? Today, she's not just an award-winning actress, a celebrated performer. She's a symbol of perseverance, faith, and divine favor, a testament to the power of believing in yourself even when no one else does. That's the kind of breathtaking turnaround that only God can write, the kind of dramatic transformation that defies human logic. So, ask yourself, what if your current shortage isn't sabotage, a deliberate attempt to derail your destiny, but a divine setup, a carefully orchestrated plan to elevate you to new heights? What if your limitation, the very thing you're ashamed of, is the very thing God will use to magnify his unlimited power, to showcase his unwavering faithfulness? What if he's deliberately reducing the noise around you, silencing the distractions, so that his voice becomes unmistakable, drowning out the doubts and fears that threaten to consume you? 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9 reminds us, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That means your weaknesses don't disqualify you from God's plan. They actually qualify you for a miracle, positioning you for a breakthrough that defies all explanation. When Gideon stepped into battle with only 300 men, he wasn't stepping in strength, fueled by his own abilities. He was stepping in surrender, relinquishing control and placing his complete trust in the Almighty. And God met that surrender with supernatural power, unleashing a force that turned the tide of battle and secured an improbable victory. The same God who parted the Red Sea, creating a pathway through impossible obstacles, who shut the mouths of lions, protecting the innocent from certain doom, who raised the dead back to life, defying the very laws of nature, is the very same God who walks with you now, who fights for you, who believes in you even when you struggle to believe in yourself. Don't despise the pruning, the seemingly painful process of cutting away what doesn't belong. Don't resent the small beginnings, the humble origins that feel insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Don't let the small crowd, the lack of recognition, make you doubt the size of your calling, the magnitude of your potential. Let me give you another example, another real-life illustration of this profound principle. Frederick Douglass, a man born into the brutal reality of slavery, escaped his chains and became one of the most powerful voices in American history, a beacon of hope and justice for generations to come. Not because he was handed opportunity on a silver platter, not because he was born into privilege, but because he obeyed the assignment, answered the call, even when the odds were stacked impossibly against him. His audience was small at first, limited to those who dared to listen in secret. His resistance was vast, a seemingly insurmountable wall of oppression. But the anointing on his voice, the power of his words, changed nations, sparking a revolution of thought and action. When God is on your side, obscurity is not an obstacle. It's an altar, a sacred space where he refines you, prepares you, and equips you for what's to come. You are being positioned for a victory so loud, so undeniable, that it will silence every doubt that has tried to bury you, every fear that has whispered lies in your ear. So when people ask, why you? Why were you chosen for this? Don't hesitate, don't shrink back in false humility. Say it plainly, confidently, without apology. Because I was willing, not perfect, not polished, not popular, but willing to say yes to the call on my life, to step out in faith even when I didn't know where I was going. That's what heaven looks for, the heart that says yes, even when it's still scared, the soul that leans into purpose even when the path isn't clear, the spirit that cries out, here I am, send me, even with trembling hands. And when those old voices creep in again, those familiar whispers of doubt, the ones that tell you you're not enough, you don't belong, you're not qualified, you speak back with fire, with the unwavering truth of who you are in Christ. He is enough and he chose me. His grace is sufficient, and his power is made perfect in my weakness. Romans 8 verse 30 affirms it with unwavering certainty. And those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. That means your calling is not accidental, not a random occurrence. It's ancestral, woven into the fabric of your being, passed down through generations. It's eternal, a purpose that transcends time and space. And it's irreversible, a divine decree that cannot be undone. You've been marked for something greater, destined for a purpose beyond your wildest dreams. And no lack, no fear, no enemy can overturn it, can extinguish the flame that burns within you. Think of the late Chadwick Boseman, the beloved actor who embodied Black Panther, a role that became globally iconic, a symbol of hope and representation for millions. He filmed that groundbreaking movie, delivered that powerful performance, all while silently battling terminal cancer, enduring unimaginable pain. The world didn't see the suffering, but they saw the power, the unwavering commitment to his craft. He wasn't living for applause, for fleeting moments of fame. He was living for assignment, for the divine purpose that burned in his soul. That's what happens when someone knows they've been chosen, when they've grasped the truth that they are part of something bigger than themselves. They move in purpose, driven by a force that transcends their own limitations, even in the face of private battles, in the midst of personal storms. And that same spirit, that same unwavering commitment, lives in you right now. So hear me, chosen one. This story of Gideon isn't just ancient ink on old scrolls, a dusty relic of the past. It's a mirror held up to your present moment, reflecting your potential, revealing your purpose. You are not forgotten, lost in the crowd, a nameless face in a sea of humanity. You are not random, a mere product of chance. You are not just surviving, clinging to life by a thread. You are being revealed, unveiled, transformed into the masterpiece God intended you to be. The crushing wasn't to break you, to shatter you beyond repair. It was to release the oil, to extract the essence of who you are, the unique gifts and talents that lie dormant within you. The isolation wasn't to punish you, to condemn you to a life of loneliness and despair. It was to preserve you, to protect you from the corrupting influences of the world, to prepare you for what's to come. The pruning wasn't loss, a subtraction from your life. It was positioning, strategically setting you up for a breakthrough that will defy all expectations. Because what God is about to do through your life will not make logical sense, will not conform to the patterns of the world. It won't come from the crowd, from seeking validation from others. It won't come from the expected route, from following the well-trodden path. It will come from the place no one looked, no one celebrated, and no one believed in, the hidden depths of your soul where God has been quietly working all along. But God always did believe, and that's all that matters. The revelation is everything, the key that unlocks your potential, the catalyst that ignites your purpose. It's the shift, the holy click, the deep spiritual knowing that suddenly cracks through your doubt and fear, illuminating your path with divine clarity. It's not just an encouraging thought you hear in a sermon, a fleeting moment of inspiration. It's a spiritual awakening that rearranges how you see yourself, how you carry your future, and how you respond to the voice of God. Something powerful happens, a seismic shift in your perspective, when you truly realize that God did not make a mistake when he chose you. That awareness, that profound understanding, chosen one, is the beginning of everything, the foundation upon which your purpose will be built. It's when you stop begging for permission to walk in a promise God already wrote into your DNA, when you stop seeking validation from a world that doesn't understand your calling. It's when you stop waiting to feel ready and start walking like the heavens already signed the assignment in your name, declaring you worthy, equipped, and destined for greatness. Have you been secretly disqualifying yourself from what God has already affirmed, whispering doubts in the darkness, undermining the very purpose he placed within you? Be honest with yourself. Have you told yourself, maybe he meant someone else, maybe I missed my shot, maybe I'm too broken now, too damaged to be used? Because that's what many of God's chosen ones struggle with, the internal battle between doubt and destiny. We want the proof before we believe the promise, demanding tangible evidence before we dare to step out in faith. But faith doesn't wait for evidence. It creates it. Hebrews 11 verse 1 tells us, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. God's pattern has always defied human logic, shattering our preconceived notions and surprising us with his unconventional methods. He speaks a calling before there's any confirmation, planting the seed of purpose before the soil is even prepared. He chooses before the crowd ever sees, recognizing potential that others overlook. And he anoints before you feel qualified, empowering you to step into a role you never thought possible. Look throughout Scripture. It's everywhere, a recurring theme woven into the tapestry of redemption. Joseph received his dream while he was still a teenager, a naive youth tending his father's flocks, long before the pit, before the prison, before Pharaoh elevated him to a position of power. But notice the pattern, the divine sequence that unfolds with unwavering precision. First the call, the seed of destiny planted in his heart. Then the crushing, the trials and tribulations that tested his character and refined his purpose. Then the confirmation, the moment when his dreams came to fruition, when he stepped into the fullness of his calling. And you, beloved chosen one, are walking that exact same path, tracing the footsteps of those who have gone before you. First, God called you, whispering a purpose into your soul. Maybe in a moment so quiet that you almost dismissed it as imagination, a fleeting fantasy. Maybe in a storm, amidst chaos and uncertainty, where his whisper was louder than your chaos, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Maybe in a childhood memory, a dream that sparked a fire in your heart, or an unshakable pull in your soul, a persistent longing for something more. Then came the crushing, the heartbreaks, the closed doors, the betrayals, the season that stripped away the pride, the ego, the people-pleasing tendencies that held you captive. Not because God was cruel, delighting in your pain, but because he was protecting the calling from being corrupted, safeguarding your purpose from being tarnished by selfish ambition. And now you're on the edge of confirmation, poised on the precipice of breakthrough, ready to step into the fullness of your destiny. The season where what he whispered in the dark, the promises he etched upon your heart, will finally echo in the open, resonating with power and purpose. Think of real-world examples, contemporary stories of those who have defied the odds and stepped into their calling with unwavering faith. Take T.D. Jakes, for example. He pastored in obscurity for years, preaching with fire in small churches, giving his all with no fame, no recognition, no promise of a brighter future. But God was working behind the scenes, meticulously crafting his character, preparing him for the platform he had ordained for him. The crushing was building his endurance, strengthening his resolve. The silence was sharpening his voice, honing his message. And when the time came, when the appointed hour arrived, "Woman, thou art loosed," exploded onto the scene, not by coincidence, not by clever marketing, but by divine appointment, a moment orchestrated by the hand of God. His story didn't start with applause, with accolades and admiration. It started with assignment, with a simple act of obedience just like yours. Here's the revelation I don't want you to miss, the truth that will set you free. God is about to go public with what he's been doing in private, revealing the masterpiece he's been crafting in the shadows. What you thought was delay, a frustrating detour on your path to purpose, was really design, a carefully orchestrated sequence of events to prepare you for what's to come. That hidden place, that "why am I still here?" season, wasn't punishment, a divine sentence for your failures. It was protection, a sanctuary where God could shield you from the storms of life and equip you for the battles ahead. He wasn't keeping you back, hindering your progress. He was building you up, fortifying your character, strengthening your resolve. Because what's coming next in your life isn't light, a fleeting moment of recognition. It's weighty, significant, impactful, a legacy that will echo through generations. It's visible, impossible to ignore, a beacon of hope that will draw others to the light. It's influential, capable of shaping cultures and transforming lives. And God never places a platform under someone whose character hasn't been fortified in secret, someone who hasn't been tested and proven faithful in the shadows. Luke 12 verse 2 says, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." That includes the good things, the preparation, the faithfulness, the tears you sowed when no one saw, the sacrifices you made in quiet obedience. Heaven has been documenting your sacrifice, carefully recording your acts of faithfulness. And now it's time for release, for the unveiling of your purpose. Are you ready to stop hiding behind the false humility that says, "I'm not ready"? That diminishes your potential and keeps you from stepping into your destiny? Because God is not looking for polished, for perfection. He's looking for obedient, for a heart that is willing to say yes to his call, even when it's scared. You keep thinking the obscurity means you've been overlooked, forgotten by God. But God sees what man misses, the hidden potential, the untapped talent, the unwavering faith that burns within your soul. Think about Dr. Ben Carson, a man raised in poverty, struggling in school, counted out by teachers who saw little promise in his future. But through perseverance, prayer, and the undeniable hand of God, he became a world-renowned neurosurgeon, a pioneer in his field, a testament to the power of believing in yourself even when no one else does. His season of hiding, his years of struggle, was also a season of becoming, a time of preparation and refinement that shaped him into the man he was destined to be. And so is yours. Ask yourself this honestly and introspectively. If God opened the doors right now, would your heart be healed enough to handle the honor, to navigate the challenges that come with increased responsibility? Would your ego be disciplined enough not to make it about you, to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground? Would your discernment be sharp enough to recognize distraction disguised as opportunity, to avoid the pitfalls that can derail even the most well-intentioned individuals? That's why he's taken his time, not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to make sure what he builds in you can sustain what he plans to build through you, to ensure that your foundation is strong enough to support the weight of your calling. Let's go deeper, peel back another layer of understanding. God does not elevate based on popularity, on the fleeting approval of the masses. He's not checking who's trending, who's racking up the most likes and followers. He's checking who's trained, who has submitted to his refining fire, who has allowed him to shape their inner life, to mold them into the image of Christ, who stayed faithful when the spotlight turned off, when no one was watching, when there was no reward in sight, who kept showing up, day after day, when no one was clapping, when their efforts seemed to go unnoticed. 1 Peter 5 verse 6 says, "Humble yourselves therefore under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." Not your time, not their time, but in due time in his perfect timing. And when that time hits, when the appointed hour arrives, nothing, no man, no system, no resistance can stop what God has ordained. The floodgates of heaven will open, and blessings will pour forth in abundance. You've seen this play out in the lives of others, those who have defied the odds and stepped into their God-given potential. Consider the story of Tyler Perry again, a man who poured his heart and soul into writing plays for years, only to be met with empty seats and crushing disappointment. He used his last dollars, slept in his car, enduring countless rejections and setbacks. Every sign pointed to one thing: give up, quit while you're ahead. But the hidden season, the years of struggle and sacrifice, was preparing him for a level of favor that required supernatural maturity, a depth of character that could only be forged in the fires of adversity. Today, he owns one of the largest film studios in America, creating jobs, changing lives, and declaring his faith boldly, using his platform to uplift and inspire others. Why? Because God promoted what he prepared, not what man praised. Because he remained faithful in the shadows, trusting in God's plan even when he couldn't see the path ahead. That same principle applies to you. The promotion you're waiting for, the breakthrough you're longing for, isn't coming because you posted the right thing on social media, or because you worked with the right person, or because you finally managed to impress the right people. It's coming because God has seen your yes in the secret place, the quiet moments of obedience that no one else witnessed. He saw when you forgave instead of retaliating, when you chose to extend grace instead of seeking revenge. He saw when you tithed while you were broke, trusting him to provide even when your resources were stretched thin. He saw when you prayed for others while your own heart was breaking, putting their needs before your own. He saw when you stayed when it would have been easier to quit, when you persevered through the pain, refusing to give up on your calling. That's what heaven rewards, the quiet acts of faithfulness that demonstrate a heart fully surrendered to God. So don't confuse the quiet with the quitting. Don't misread the silence as a sign of abandonment. God has been writing the most important chapters of your story in the dark, meticulously crafting your character, preparing you for the unveiling of your purpose. And when he turns the page, when he shines the light on your life, it won't just be a new chapter, a fresh start. It will be a public unveiling, a breathtaking reveal that will leave no room for doubt. Proverbs 18 verse 16 tells us, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gift, honed in silence, refined in the fires of adversity, is about to make space for you in places your name has never been mentioned, in circles you never dreamed of entering. But your purpose has already been assigned, your destiny has already been written, and your time is coming. Here's the final truth, the ultimate revelation that will empower you to step into your calling with unwavering confidence. The awakening isn't just about understanding your worth, about recognizing your potential. It's about owning your warfare, about recognizing the enemy and actively engaging in the battle for your destiny. The enemy has tried to delay you, to derail your purpose, by attacking your confidence, by filling your mind with lies and doubts, by distorting your self-image and convincing you that you're not good enough. But that ends now. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still breathing, still holding on to hope, means you won. You've overcome the obstacles, you've weathered the storms, and you've emerged stronger than ever before. And now, chosen one, it's time to step forward like someone who knows they were picked by God, prepared in pain, and are now positioned for purpose, ready to fulfill the destiny he has ordained for them. The revelation isn't just that you were chosen. It's that you're ready to be revealed, to shine your light brightly in a world that desperately needs your gifts. So maybe today, right now, in this quiet, sacred moment, you're feeling something shift inside, a stirring in your spirit, a stirring of hope. It's not just emotion, a fleeting surge of inspiration. It's the spirit calling you back, beckoning you to return to the path of purpose. Maybe for the first time in your life, you're ready to lay it all down, to surrender completely to the will of God. You're tired, not just physically exhausted, but spiritually drained, weary of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Tired of pretending to be okay, of masking your pain behind a facade of strength. Tired of chasing fulfillment in all the wrong places, seeking validation in fleeting moments of pleasure. Tired of carrying the weight of wounds, disappointments, and unanswered questions that have haunted you for far too long. You've tried to do life your own way, relying on your own strength, trusting in your own abilities. And somewhere along the path, you realize that success without peace still feels like failure, that achieving worldly acclaim without inner contentment leaves you empty and unfulfilled. You look around and realize that nothing external, no amount of wealth, fame, or power, can fix the internal ache, the longing in your soul. And right here, in this very moment, the invitation is simple yet eternal, a timeless invitation that echoes through the ages. Come home. Return to the Father's embrace. Find refuge in his unwavering love. Or maybe, chosen one, you've walked with God before, tasted the sweetness of his presence, knew the joy of living in his will. You knew his voice, recognized his gentle whispers in your heart. You felt his presence, experienced the warmth of his love surrounding you. But life, messy, unpredictable, painful life happened. You got distracted, seduced by the allure of the world. You got disappointed, disillusioned by the broken promises and unmet expectations. You drifted, slowly but surely, farther and farther away from the path of righteousness. And you weren't even sure how far you'd gone until now, until this moment of clarity. But even with all that distance, even with all the years of separation, God never moved. He never stopped calling you, never stopped believing in the purpose he placed inside you. And today, something deep in your soul is whispering again, a gentle nudge that tugs at your heart. Come home. Not to rules, not to religion, not to a set of rigid doctrines, but to relationship, to a living, breathing connection with the one who formed you, chose you, and has been waiting for you, not with anger, not with condemnation, but with open arms, eager to embrace you and welcome you back into his loving embrace. Let me ask you something, a question that requires honest reflection. What do you have to lose by surrendering, by finally relinquishing control and placing your life in his hands? What if everything you've been chasing on your own, all the elusive dreams and fleeting moments of happiness, could finally find alignment through him, could finally fall into place according to his perfect plan? What if the very thing you've been missing wasn't a plan, a strategy, a meticulously crafted roadmap, but a person, a relationship with the one who knows you best and loves you most? Psalm 34 verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." If your heart feels broken, shattered into a million pieces, you are in the exact place where heaven leans in closest, where God's grace is most readily available. So whether this is your first time ever giving your life to Christ, surrendering your will to his, or your first time in a long time finding your way back, rediscovering the joy of his presence, I want to lead you in a prayer, a simple yet profound act of surrender. These aren't magic words, a formulaic incantation that guarantees instant transformation. There's no secret code here, no mystical ritual to unlock divine favor. This is just a moment of realignment, a moment of surrender, a sacred, courageous, powerful yes to the God who loves you unconditionally. And if your heart is stirring, if you've stepped into alignment with the divine, you've walked into your purpose, into a covenant that stands unbroken and unyielding. The person you were just 5 minutes ago, they no longer exist. You are now washed clean, utterly and completely forgiven. You are embraced by an eternal, unwavering love. You are a new creation born anew, and above all, you are chosen. Let that truth settle deep within your soul. Chosen, not merely tolerated, not simply accepted, but intentionally, lovingly, and divinely handpicked by the God of the entire universe. And I promise you, this is just the dawn of a breathtaking new day. God is about to reveal himself in ways you could never have fathomed. He's poised to transform your relationships, renew your mindset, bring forth deep and lasting healing, and ignite your true calling. Doors that once seemed bolted shut are now poised to swing wide open. That fragmented sense of self, that feeling of being incomplete, is being meticulously restored, piece by precious piece. Your past no longer holds sway over you, no longer dictates your future. It is your purpose that defines you now, that guides your steps. So, wherever you find yourself in this moment, whether you're gazing out from a glittering city skyline, nestled in the quiet embrace of a small town, or seeking solace in your room late at night, pause. Honor the sacredness of this instant. This is no ordinary moment. This is holy ground. This is a divine interruption in the flow of your life, a redirection orchestrated from the very heavens. And we want to celebrate this monumental turning point with you. If you've just said yes to Jesus, whether it's for the very first time or after a long and winding detour, I invite you, with all my heart, to drop a comment below and simply type, "I said yes." Don't hold back. Don't overthink it. Just speak it aloud, because the moment you confess it publicly, you're not just acknowledging your decision. You're boldly declaring your new identity. And let me assure you, you are not embarking on this incredible journey alone. We are here walking alongside you. This isn't just a fleeting prayer. It's the genesis of a brand new life. And community is paramount. So don't isolate yourself. We want to lift you up in prayer, stand shoulder to shoulder with you, support you and remind you, even when the storms inevitably rage, that you are, and will always be, chosen. That the very same God who called you into this new life is also the one who will carry you through every trial and tribulation. As Philippians 1 verse 6 beautifully reminds us, he who began a good work in you will see it through to completion, right up to the glorious day of Christ Jesus. And now, let me speak directly to each and every one of you who has shared this entire journey with us. Whether you just whispered that prayer, or you've been attentively listening, receiving, and allowing this message to resonate deep within your soul from the very beginning, thank you. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for your precious time, for your presence, for opening your heart and allowing these words to find their home within you. You could have been anywhere else doing anything else, but you chose to stay. You chose to lean in, to listen with intention. That choice matters. That seed of attention you nurtured by giving it to this word will not return void. Isaiah 55 proclaims, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." That means every sentence you embraced, every verse you heard, was planted with divine purpose, and a bountiful harvest is undoubtedly on its way. If this message has resonated with you, encouraged you, lifted you up, or helped you reconnect with the profound presence of God, and you feel called to support this space, we wholeheartedly welcome that. There's a super thanks option conveniently located right here on this video. Whether it's $1 or $100, every act of generosity helps us continue our mission to reach more chosen ones, just like you, with these life-altering truths. But please know this, with every fiber of your being. Whether you give or not, you are deeply valued. You are seen in your entirety. You are honored for who you are. You are unconditionally loved. Your very presence is a gift. Your prayers, your time, your insatiable hunger for more of God. That means everything to us. Giving is never an obligation, never a requirement. It's simply an invitation, extended with love and gratitude. And we are thankful either way. This space exists because of faithful, dedicated individuals like you, people who show up, remain curious, courageously open their hearts, and allow God to work in ways that only He can. And we don't take that lightly. Every time you comment, share, or support, you're not merely boosting a video. You're helping ignite a spiritual awakening within someone else. You're helping a fellow human being rediscover their true identity. You're helping other chosen ones realize they were never truly alone. And if you've stayed until this very moment, let me impart a blessing upon you. I don't believe in mere coincidences. I believe in divinely orchestrated appointments. I believe you clicked on this video for a reason. And I believe this word found you because something deep within your spirit was already prepared to receive it. So now, I declare this over you. May God envelop you in a peace that surpasses all human understanding. May He fill every empty space in your heart with the radiant warmth of His unwavering love. May every heavy burden lift effortlessly from your shoulders tonight. May your dreams be saturated with divine visions, guiding you toward your destiny. May your morning be filled with clarity of purpose, unwavering strength, and supernatural courage to face whatever lies ahead. May the voice of God become amplified, drowning out every insidious lie whispered by fear. May you walk boldly into this next chapter of your life, knowing with absolute certainty that you are not defined by the world's fleeting opinions. You are defined by heaven's eternal declaration. Chosen, appointed, anointed, sent. You are a kingdom builder, destined to leave a lasting legacy. You are a light bearer, illuminating the path for others. You are a warrior, clothed in grace and wielding the power of love. And God is about to show up so undeniably in your life that even your adversaries will be forced to acknowledge. Surely, the Lord is with them. And remember, this isn't the grand finale. This is the activation. Salvation is the starting line, not the finish line. Now is the time to walk with purpose, to grow in wisdom, to learn from every experience, to rise above every challenge. The very same Spirit that triumphantly raised Jesus from the dead now resides within you, empowering you to overcome. And He's not finished writing your story, not even close. So, if this message has deeply touched you, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Text it to a friend who's struggling. Post it on your social media platform and let its light shine. Be the vessel that carries the light forward, because someone you know is still trapped in the winepress, still hiding in the shadows, still desperately wondering if they are truly chosen. And your simple act of obedience might be the confirmation they've been crying out for. Finally, from the very depths of my heart, thank you. Thank you for showing up with an open mind. Thank you for being open to the possibilities. Thank you for believing in the power of God's word. You are the reason this message was birthed into existence. You are the reason this vital work continues to flourish. You are a living testament that the chosen are still rising, and you are an integral part of that unstoppable army. So until our paths cross again, walk boldly in faith, love deeply and without reservation, pray fiercely and with unwavering conviction, and never forget that you are not just seen, you are sent on a mission. You are not just redeemed, you are royalty, destined for greatness. You are not just chosen, you are living proof that God still moves in miraculous ways, defying all expectations. I love you, I'm praying for you, and I cannot wait to hear your testimony, to witness the blessings, the favor, and the divine acceleration that will accompany every step you take. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Music.